This Halloween season, come to Nightmare on Edgewood, Indy's most intense haunted attraction. Experiencing #1 must-see haunt in Indiana for 2017 as voted by Nationwide Scare Factor Haunt Reviews. Edgewood has tons of new features for 2017, including the expanded Big Top attraction Carnival, the Haunted Movie House Midnight Double Feature, and the resurrection of the Dark Maze Insanity. You can also escape the nightmare in their 2 escape rooms while you're there. Nightmare on Edgewood is open every Friday and Saturday night beginning September 29th, and the season runs through November 4th. Don't miss LGBTQ Night, Thursday, October 12th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Presented by Haunters Against Hate, part of the admission that night goes to Indiana Youth Group and the Lexington Gay Straight Alliance. For more information and to buy tickets, visit nightmareonedgewood.com. And follow Nightmare on Edgewood on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for weekly deals. Nightmare on Edgewood is conveniently located 1 mile south of 465, just east of US 31 on the Edgewood Baseball Diamonds. Nightmare on Edgewood. Sweet dreams are not made of this.
And welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a weekly movie and TV podcast that discusses a specific topic, whether it's a genre, trope, movie, or show, each episode. You can find more of our work at obsessiveviewer.com and also find the other Obsessive Viewer podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com/podcasts. And this is a special episode today because we're actually here at Nightmare in Edgewood, a local but nationwide renowned haunted house. I don't even want to say haunted house. It's a haunted event, essentially. It is one of the most constructed haunts of the Halloween season in central Indiana, and there's a lot of good acclaim surrounding it. And I'm here with Danielle, who is kind of the marketing PR kind of guru for it. And so we're going to kind of do just a nice little chat about it and several different other topics, I'm sure, because we're very lax here. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. We just got done having a meeting with all of our staff. Everyone's out here getting their room assignments, figuring out where they're going to be working, and we're all pretty excited getting the anxiety building up for next weekend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So next weekend you guys open, and then you're running each weekend throughout October. Do you guys close down after the weekend after Halloween, or?
We actually run the first weekend of November as
Sweet.
well, and that's where we do Lights Out. So okay. It's an opportunity for people who've come through and love it so much and want to come back and get a different experience.
Awesome.
So we put glow sticks around the necks of our victims who come through, and then all the characters are in the haunted house basically with no lights on.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That is that's amazing. And we were walking through, and there are a couple different places that I'm told are new. And I mean, just the kind of, there's one section that's even in broad daylight, like it's an outdoor section, but in broad daylight, it's terrifying. Like it has that ambiance that's just really, really frightening. Yeah. So I'm excited to,
have you been through before?
I haven't. I think back in high school I went through it once. And that was really, oddly enough, as much as I love horror movies and everything, that was like the only time I really went to like a haunted house.
Yeah. And
I mean, it was incredible. It definitely stuck with me.
Does any particular experience or part of that stick out in your memory?
I remember that there was a display of, and maybe this is, yeah, I think it was just gore, like just body parts through it, after going through like a small, like kind of almost crawling through a small area. That was just, it was pretty terrifying.
Well, and you touched on something else. You said it's been since you were in high school. This is the 39th year that Nightmare on Edgewood has opened, and we're, getting excited for our 40th anniversary already next year. But
that's amazing.
We're one of the longest running haunts in the area. Have been around for a really long time. So
that is amazing. And that's such an incredible run. Cause you would think, there's a lot. I'm sure that there's a lot of, competition. I'm sure that you guys have like a lot of good working relationships and everything with the other haunts and everything. But that's a long stretch of time, and you guys have seemed to be honing it so well and just putting in new stuff. We went through and saw a particular facade that I don't know how much I want to give away or anything, but there's like the construction of it looked like out of this world. It looked incredibly realistic, very much, very detailed, and just incredible. Like as we were kind of walking past, I was kind of gazing at it, and like this is probably a stretch of maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 feet or so just of walk. And like I was looking, I was like, as I was walking through, I was like noticing like, oh, that's that little detail there, and this right here. And I'm just like, this is just a facade. This is just like an entry point. Yeah. And I was just blown away.
You talking about our movie theater?
Yes.
Yeah. We can talk about that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So old customers will remember, we always have what we've in the past called old school fright. There's been a hospital scene. This year, that is our theater. So, you're going to kind of start out coming through the back alley of the theater and coming in and checking out a few movie scenes. And then you're actually going to step into, your favorite scary movies and meet all of your favorite scary movie villains.
That's fantastic.
So yeah.
That's very exciting. And obviously as an obsessive viewer, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. And you were talking about the detail, Nightmare on Edgewood, we're at the Edgewood Athletic Association on Indy's South Side. So, we're unique in that we don't, this is built and rebuilt every year. It gets torn down and then we bring it back together, and I always say it's kind of modular. So there are pieces that will be familiar to our repeat customers, but it gets rearranged and put together in a different way every year. So it's a completely different experience every time. And we bring back some familiar parts, and then we'll bring back or get new pieces as well. So
and that's the way to do it. It seems like such a great a labor of love, and I know that you guys are super busy with it and everything, especially in the lead up to launching for the season. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And so let's talk a little bit about the history, because it's 39 years worth of history of it. How did Nightmare on Edgewood come to be, and what's kind of the history of the haunt?
So the Cook brothers, Paul and Kevin, have been operating Nightmare on Edgewood, I don't know the exact numbers, I think about 9 or 10 years now. And then it was, I'm not sure who previously owned it. And it's been at this same location for almost the entire time. I think the very first year it was on a farm somewhere, and then moved over here. I don't know if can you speak to any of that? Okay. So other than that, I don't know too much of the history, other than, the Edgewood Athletic Association graciously lets us come in and set up here every year. And so we're happy to support them. And, it's been a great, it's challenging, getting in here and building it from the ground up every year. But again, I think that lends it to some really cool creativity and, using the space and doing what you can with what you have. So, for example, last year, we had our new clown space, Carnival, and, that was inside. And this year, so it was such a big hit last year, they wanted to expand on that. So they actually, allowed us to build a new structure, out back. So last year, that was where our old school fright was. That's where you met Freddie, and that's where you went outside, and then it was Camp Crystal Lake and all the cabins, and you met Jason, and so that now is where our clown house is at. So we kind of built a new structure, and it's like a maze inside, and lots of fun lights and things going on in there. So yeah.
That's fantastic. What is it about scaring people that attracts you to doing this kind of work and being involved with this kind of work?
Yeah, so I don't know if I mentioned, I also, in addition to doing the marketing and advertising and PR here, I also am an actress.
Oh, nice.
I do get inside the house and scare people. So this will be my third season acting at Nightmare on Edgewood. And, I've actually thought about that question a lot. Why? Because it takes a special kind of person to enjoy this work, because it's really, really hard physical work. You stand in the same spot all night. You do the same thing every 60 seconds. And it's physical. You're jumping up and down, or you're squatting down and sliding under a bed, and, you get bruised up. Sometimes, people's lips get split open and things like that. So you have to really love, scaring people, getting a kick out of that for one thing. But then I guess the greater question, what is enjoyable about scaring people or being scared? And I always like to say that, it kind of keeps me grounded. For me, it's very easy to distinguish between the pretend fake scary world, sitting down to watch a scary movie or stepping into a haunted house. It's like stepping into a fantasy world. And you go through that and you let your guard down a little bit. You get the adrenaline pumping, and it's really fun. But in the back of your mind, it's all fake. It's not real. It's not really going to get me. And it keeps me grounded, and gives you perspective on the actual terrifying real world that we live in. So it's just a nice escape for me, to stop thinking about the day to day and just, go get scared and have a little fun. And then, if you're someone like me who enjoys going to haunted houses and getting the adrenaline pumping, it's just kind of a natural evolution. The next thing is I always say it's kind of like riding a roller coaster, and then you get to a point you're like, I love this roller coaster. I'm going to wait for that front seat. You ride it in the front seat, and you can never ride it anywhere else. And for me, once I started acting at a haunted house, that's all I can do. I can't go back from here. So.
Nice. That's fantastic. And the experience of going to a haunted house is a lot like, a roller coaster. It is an attraction. It's incredible.
Yep.
So what can visitors this year kind of expect? What are you at liberty to divulge about the haunt this year?
Well, the one thing that we haven't really touched on yet that's really important is that Nightmare on Edgewood is hands-on. 100% of the haunt is hands-on. There are a few others in central Indiana that have, one or two attractions, and you have the option to get touched if you want, and that sort of thing. If you come to Edgewood, you will get touched. You will get roughed up a little bit.
Sure.
So I always tell people that's why I chose to work at Nightmare on Edgewood, because I always had the best time here, because it was always the most authentic experience, because actors can touch you.
Right.
Again, that whole crossing the line or blurring the line, I guess, between what's real and what's fake. And, you're at a commercial haunted house, nothing bad is going to happen to you. But when you're getting pushed up against the wall and somebody has their hands around your throat, you kind of start to question, maybe I'm not going to come out of this okay.
Yeah.
But of course you always do.
Of course.
So that's one thing that everyone should expect about coming to Nightmare on Edgewood. We have 3 attractions. We've talked about 2 of them. The first one is the movie theater, where you'll meet all your favorite villains. And then the third one, the clown house that we talked about. And then in the middle is called Insanity. Okay. And our longtime customers will remember if I say the dark maze. And that's what Insanity is. So it's going to be really dark. It's an assault of the senses, if you will. So loud sounds, lots of darkness, contrasted with very bright lights occasionally, and just kind of finding your way through there. So, I guess you should take warning if you're really afraid of the dark, and finding your way through something that's going to, like I said, totally assault your senses. So, those are the 3 different, very distinct areas of Nightmare on Edgewood. You get all that for the $25 ticket, and then we do offer VIP tickets, and that'll put you at the head of our line.
Nice.
So those are available, and then we also have 2 escape rooms on site. So that's an additional, I believe it's $5 ticket.
Wow.
You can do them both if you would like. And so those are where it's if you've ever been to an escape room or anything like that, it's kind of like a shortened version of that. I'm not sure if it's 5 or 10 minutes. You get inside the room and you're given clues and you try and find your way out. And if you do, then you get a Nightmare on Edgewood t-shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Nice. Yep. Wow, so you guys have 3 distinct sections. You also have escape rooms and stuff and it's all hands-on and everything. That is, I mean, all of that I'm sure sets it apart from different Halloween kind of attractions in the Indianapolis area, and that's really fantastic.
Yep.
and
then paired with our our experience, we've been doing this for a long time, so that's how we got the name as Indy's most intense haunted house.
That is fantastic. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you guys have gotten some even nationwide acclaim, haven't you, as well?
Is it the Scare Factor? Yeah. So the Scare Factor, they held a voting contest, and we were, I should have studied up a little bit more. 6.
Nice.
6 in the nation.
Wow. And as an industry, haunts are, massive. That's a very, if that's nationwide, that's incredible.
And their team's been coming out and visiting us for years, and they've got lots of Nightmare on Edgewood reviews on their website. And so, we were thrown in this voting contest and came out 6th in the nation this year.
Nice. And our friend Chad is here from the Secular Perspective, and he was actually telling me that that it was referenced in Horror Hound. Do you want to talk about it in the mic a little bit?
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to finally make it onto the show after however long. So a friend of mine sent this to me earlier today. You guys made it. I don't know if this was I'm assuming it was just this month's issue of Horror Hound magazine, but they did a 31 haunts in 31 days listing, I guess, the top nationwide, because they're a nationwide magazine. I don't think they're in any particular order, but you guys did get listed on here. I'll read you their blurb. It's just a little quick blurb about each one, but it says Nightmare on Edgewood in Indianapolis, Indiana. At 35 years, one of the oldest ongoing haunts in America, is still one of the scariest experiences in the country. Balls to the wall, in your face, weapons grade horror. They probably need to update that because it says 35 years.
Well, I think I wrote a press release one year that said more than 35 years or something like that. So maybe that's where they picked it up.
Yeah. I have nothing else really to add right now. You've covered everything. So here's my my appearance on the Obsessive Viewer for posterity. So.
And we'll get you on a more, it's just busy. Anyway, so going back to just the nature of scaring and fear and everything, since we are a movie and TV podcast, what are some of your favorite horror movies or television shows? What in terms of media, what gets your blood pumping and your fear triggered?
Well, right now, TV-wise, of course, I'm keeping up with the latest season of American Horror Story.
And they just started Cult, didn't they?
Cult is the new...
How's that starting out?
It's good. It's
nice.
So for anybody who doesn't know much about this particular season, it begins on the night of the 2016 election. So that's where it starts. So it's very timely and relevant, and you see a lot of parallels, and then you also see it just being over dramatized and things. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited. For the record, my favorite American Horror Story season was Freak Show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I never finished Hotel. I'm not a vampire fan. So Hotel really turned me off, and I never finished the second season, but I liked Coven and Freak Show. Those were my favorite seasons.
Nice.
And then movie-wise, I always say my favorite scary movie probably is the old and the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, nice.
Those are favorites. I love Rob Zombie. I love all of his stuff. And, of course, we can't not talk about It.
Right, yeah.
So I saw the new It recently, loved it, and I'm currently reading the book.
Nice.
So
are you reading it like a physical one, or are you audiobook?
No, I'm reading it.
Okay.
I'm old school.
Nice.
It's this thick.
It is a monster.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
So, but I'm breezing through that because
Nice.
man, Stephen King is just effortless to read.
Oh, it's and I mean, I could talk for hours about Stephen King and everything. We just launched a Stephen King podcast. I'll make sure I give you the business card.
Sure.
But yeah, and that movie was incredible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. And yeah, with other Stephen King works, do you have a favorite Stephen King book?
Well,
or movie?
my funny Stephen King story is that when I was a child, Pet Sematary is what scared me of scary movies. So like when I was really, really little, my parents would take me to haunted houses and I was fine with it. And we'd watch, Freddy's and Chucky movies and, it was all fine. And then I watched Pet Sematary and I was like, nope. It was all the way up until, early teenage years before I started getting back into it again.
Nice.
I think it was when they came out with that, Sleepy Hollow with Christina Ricci.
Oh yeah, the Tim Burton movie. Yeah.
That's when I was like, that looks kind of interesting, and that's when I started going to haunted houses again. And it's just only progressed over time. So.
Nice. I've told this story on the podcast before, and I apologize for our listeners for repeating it. But I got a cat a couple years ago, and I went, being a big Stephen King fan, I went to the place that was having the adoption event with the express intention of getting a male cat and naming him Church after the cat in Pet Sematary. But they only had a girl cat there, so I was just okay. And then she had the perfect name, so it was Pizza Roll. So okay. I'm like, yeah, I can't change that name. So, but yeah, I love Stephen King and Pet Sematary. It's interesting because the director and producer of It, Andy Muschietti, and his sister is his producing partner. I think it's Barbara Muschietti. They've talked they've been very vocal about how much they love Pet Sematary and how much they would love to remake it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And with the success of It, I don't know what the rights situation is with Pet Sematary and everything, and I don't know what the behind the scenes is, but I mean, they've basically been handed the keys to the kingdom. No pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, and because he loves the new movie. I've heard. He's been putting red balloons in his windows of his mansion and things like that. That would be awesome because. They're not entirely timeless movies.
Right. Right.
They could stand to be updated, just like, they did a great job with the new It.
Absolutely.
Can't wait for the second one to come out.
Me neither.
So, yeah.
And I think they did the right thing by separating it with the kid's story and the adult story.
Oh, because it was still 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think. And you're getting to the end of it and you're like, we haven't even seen them as adults yet.
I know.
And then it was over and I was like, okay, that's probably for the best.
Yeah. Oh,
so
absolutely.
Don't rush perfection.
Right. So. Oh, yeah. So going back to Nightmare in Edgewood, we are actually going to be at the opening weekend. I think we're going to be there on Friday, and we're going to kind of do a live podcast and everything, and kind of annoy the guests as they're in line.
Great.
And we can't wait, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So we're going to be there next weekend, and I mean, I'm sure you're going to be seeing us going throughout the month too, because I'm sure it's going to be just killer.
Yeah, you'll want to come back.
Oh, absolutely. And what are some other things that people can expect, and where can they find Nightmare in Edgewood online, and how can they get tickets and everything?
Yeah, so opening weekend is this weekend, and we're open on Friday and Saturday, the last weekend of September, and then every Friday and Saturday through October. Later in the season, we've got a couple of Thursdays, and then we're doing the Sunday before Halloween, and then we will be open on Halloween, Tuesday, and then, like I mentioned earlier, the first weekend of November is our lights off weekend. And then there's, I would say just keep in touch with us on our Facebook page and our website. There are occasional nights where we've got some nice fundraisers going on where your ticket sales will benefit different charitable groups and things like that. I do know specifically we have an LGBTQ night coming up. I forget the exact date, but that is in conjunction with Honors Against Hate. And so also be some other organizations there. And I believe the beneficiary of that night, last year it was Indie Pride. This year it is IYG, Indiana Youth Group. So that's a really good night. We're really excited to be doing that with Honors Against Hate again.
That's fantastic. Can you speak more to that and just about how exactly it works and everything?
Yeah. Honors Against Hate started because there was unfortunately a haunted house we'll just say in the Midwest who said some unkind things about the LGBT community online, and our creative director at Nightmare on Edgewood, Paul Lanner, he decided to form an organization that says this is not okay, and we're gonna put this group together of people who support this community and also love horror. And so he sells shirts. The shirts are available online. You can get them in different colors. They've got a nice spooky skull on the face, says Honors Against Hate. And then, of course, that money helps Honors Against Hate spread their mission, being present at other haunted house conventions and horror conventions and things like that. So that is October 12th at Nightmare on Edgewood. I think since that's from 7 to 10, I believe that's a Thursday. So
yeah, that is a Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
So head out for that, and just keep in touch with us on Facebook, nightmareonedgewood.com, and come out and see us. Great.
Yeah. And that's such a fantastic thing to do for the LGBTQ community and everything, and supporting that. That's fantastic. 'Cause Nightmare on Edgewood has such a pedigree and a long lasting, like there's a legacy to it. I mean, 39 years is a long time, and it's great to have that kind of support for against hate and everything. That's really fantastic.
Yeah, as the tagline says for Honors Against Hate, because hate is the scariest thing of all.
I like that. I like that.
Yep.
Nice. And we will also be raffling off some stuff for Nightmare on Edgewood at our Shocktober in Irvington event, which for listeners, again, we've been pestering you guys about this for months. It is October 6th, and we will put links to all of the Nightmare on Edgewood stuff in the show notes of this episode, and we will be posting it all over the place on social media as well. And yeah, is there anything else about the haunt that we didn't touch on, or anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered all my favorite things to talk about.
All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us and sitting down with us and talking to us about this. And I hope you guys have a great season, and we will definitely be seeing you several times throughout the season, I'm sure.
I can't wait to scare you.
Great. All right. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Tickets are on sale now for the 4th annual Shocktober in Irvington, presented by the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Join the hosts of the Obsessive Viewer on October 6th, 2017 for a one-night event screening of short horror films, including the premiere screenings of the latest film in J.P. Leck's cross-medium Elsewhere World universe, the latest film from Snapshot Productions, and much more. Come celebrate the horror genre in the historic Irvington area and meet the filmmakers with live Q&As after each screening. You can also win DVDs and Blu-rays, movie-related party games, horror-themed Funko Pop figures, gift cards to Irvington businesses, and so much more. Tickets are on sale now at shocktoberinirvington.com. All proceeds go directly to the Irvington Historical Society, and we will be seeing you on the 6th of October.
Thank you for listening to The Obsessive Viewer, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find more of our episodes at ovpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or anywhere else podcasts are found. If you'd like to support the show, the best and easiest way is to leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews means it'll be easier for people to find the show in the highly competitive film and TV podcast genre. It also provides us with valuable feedback on the show. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a one-time PayPal donation at obsessiveviewer.com/donate or become a patron at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for recurring donations with different reward tiers. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, notebooks, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can also buy other great TeePublic designs in our store, and we'll get a small commission on the sale. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. The Obsessive Viewer's theme song is An Eclipse of Events and is provided by Loudlike from their EP, Mistakes We Must Make. You can find that and more great music from them on iTunes, and like their Facebook page at facebook.com/loudlikemusic. Any and all feedback on the podcast is encouraged. We love to hear from you guys. You can contact us by emailing podcast@obsessiveviewer.com or by tweeting us at obsessiveviewer, at obsessivetiny, and at IamMikeWhite. You can also like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer, where you can take part in discussions and polls between episodes. For more podcast content, check out Anthology, Matt's solo podcast, where he's reviewing The Twilight Zone as a first-time viewer and exploring other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows. You can find Anthology at anthologypod.com and anywhere podcasts are found. For book lovers, you can check out our sister site at obsessivebooknerd.com for book reviews, author spotlights, and a general celebration of reading. Finally, if you're philosophically curious, check out Tiny's side project podcast, The Secular Perspective, which explores the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com and subscribe to the podcast on the app of your choice. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.